Today on the CTV News at 5, what the family of a man shot and killed by city police are saying about a report that justified the officer's actions. Plus, flood victims' frustration overflows in High River. And Georgia's ride, raising hope and help for those with cancer.
CTV News with Jackie Scantlebury.
Good afternoon. Tension continues to rise over flood recovery efforts across southern Alberta, especially in High River.
Now! Full services! Now! Full services!
The High River Hospital has yet to fully reopen since being evacuated during last month's flooding, and that has a lot of people upset. This morning, about 50 marched in front of the hospital demanding it fully reopen. The province says they're in the process of doing so, but that will happen in stages. But there are many who worry the province is preparing to shift services to the new South Calgary hospital despite what the province claims.
It was completely a smokescreen because nowhere in there did they talk about the services that we're concerned about. The reestablishment of a full-service emergency, operating theaters that are functional and admitting patients to our hospital, the obstetrics and gynecology services that are available at this hospital.
Already, the emergency ward at the High River Hospital is operating as an urgent care facility. Some public health clinics have reopened, and on Tuesday, long-term care patients who were evacuated 5 weeks ago will be allowed to return. Now, flood victims who've been staying in the dorms at the University of Lethbridge only have about a week left before they'll have to move to a new location. Over the past month, they've been trying to piece their lives back together after losing everything. Not only have they had to say goodbye to their homes, some no longer have jobs, and that means a brand new job search. Jeanette Rocher reports.
Renata Tews drops off her 11-year-old son Tristan at technology camp at the University of Lethbridge. While Tristan spends his days talking to robots on Mars, Renata's busy trying to rebuild a life that was flood-ravaged in High River.
I have to update my resume. I lost everything because basically my computer is back in home, and I have to update everything, the new information.
Originally from Poland, Renata has been in Canada for nearly 30 years and in Alberta for 5. After the June flooding damaged their High River home, the family has been shuffled around to 5 different locations.
We're not allowed to go to our house right now because the government took over, so we're just waiting how much damage, and we don't know anything.
Renata's husband is currently working in Calgary, where he and their older son are staying with friends. Meanwhile, Renata and Tristan have been housed at the University of Lethbridge since July 1st.
We don't have any family here, so it's kind of difficult time for us to stand strong with the situation.
Prior to the flood, Renata had been looking for a job in High River as an electrical engineering technician. But now, faced with an uncertain future, she doesn't know where to apply because she doesn't know where her family will end up.
So when the employer says, okay.
That's where Teamwork's Career Center has stepped in to do what they can to help flood victims like Renata get back on track.
She doesn't know where her child is going to start school. She doesn't know where she's going to be living. Yeah, she's in a really bad spot.
Over the past several weeks, Teamworks has been assisting High River evacuees with resume writing, job search, and interview skills.
In addition to just helping with resumes, hopefully what we're doing is providing them with a little bit of hope as well.
Hope for a future with a fixed address, a stable income, and a reunited family. Jeanette Rocher, CTV News, Lethbridge.
Renata and her son will leave Lethbridge on July 31st, then join the rest of her family in Calgary, where they'll stay at a hotel for an undetermined amount of time. Teamwork says they're going to continue to work through with her job search and help her there. Everybody loves a clown, and there just happens to be a few hundred of them in Lethbridge right now.
Just a very special to boys and girls. Do you want to have a look? Here we go. There, you can see now the monkey in the box.
These clowns are actually members of the Pacific Northwest Shriners Association. They've been clowning around for the past few days, putting on their best act during a competition. It's part of an annual Shriners Conference. This is the first time Lethbridge has hosted them. More than 400 Shriners and their spouses have come for the 4-day conference. It wraps up tomorrow. The Shriners have been holding conventions for more than 100 years, but they're most well known for their work in their 22 children's hospitals. The organization began using clowns as a way to connect with children.
Just when you put the makeup on, you could be a kid, an adult kid with his toy, out there riding little motorcycles and toys and have fun. And you're putting a smile on. If you could put a smile or get a clap on a person's face, you've done your job. You could go home, put your head on the pillow at nighttime, say, hey, I did my job. I made a kid smile.
When you see the kids, when you try to and you put a smile on their face, especially the kids in wheelchairs and kids with disabilities and that's one of the reasons why we do this.
Lethbridge expects it to generate about $640,000 in direct spending from the conference. Meanwhile, the parents of a man who was shot and killed by police last year in Lethbridge say they are not convinced officers had to use their guns. The Alberta Serious Incident Response Team released its report yesterday on the shooting of 26-year-old Raj Puri last summer. Now, that report concluded the officers were justified in using lethal force, but members of Puri's family say they don't agree with the report and still can't understand why it happened. Terry Vogt reports.
Billy Puri and his wife Jas say they brought their son Raj to Canada from Nepal to save his life. But instead, they say police came inside their house and killed the boy.
I cannot convince myself why this happened. Nobody can answer me. I don't get it. That's what she's saying.
Hemlal Timsina is president of the Lethbridge Bhutanese community and agreed to act as an interpreter for the family. They say police had dealings with their son on 4 prior occasions, including times when he was threatening to cut himself with a knife. They say he was a good person but on medication for TB and acted differently when he was drinking. Last July, family members called 911. They were expecting police to come and take Raj to the hospital as they had on previous occasions.
But that day, they didn't say anything. Just they entered the house and they told us to get out.
When they come in, they pushed them out and asked him to lay your hands up. And he had a knife, so he got up from the couch and hands up like this.
Family members say police officers were shouting and shining a flashlight in Puri's eyes, that he appeared to be confused, and there was a language barrier. They say he didn't understand when police officers were yelling for him to put down the weapon.
How come they use the bullet? They don't know how to use the other alternative things. They are not trained to use that things. That is what I want to say.
So it's not justified. She's not satisfied. She's not consoled. She cannot console herself. She cannot understand why this happened.
Family members say they're not convinced or consoled by the independent police investigation. They say they're now looking forward to the public fatality inquiry to bring out all of the facts. Terry Vogt, CTV News, Lethbridge.
Investigators with the Alberta Serious Incident Response Team concluded the police officers feared for their safety. They say with Puri only 8 to 10 feet away, they were justified in using lethal force. Meanwhile, RCMP are investigating after holes were drilled into the fuel tanks of a number of delivery trucks at Two Brooks businesses. It happened sometime Monday night. It's believed the holes were drilled to steal gasoline. If you have any information, you're urged to contact police or Crime Stoppers. Well, Dory Rossiter, a bit of a shock to the system coming for Monday. 18 degrees with showers.
Yeah, after today, you know, our humidex value, we're right around 31 degrees with the humidex, elevation a little bit in the humidity department. But yeah, Monday, 18 degrees and showers. Got a low pressure center coming down from the north. It'll be sitting over us for one day, and then we're back into sunshine. I'll tell you all about it in a couple of minutes.
Okay, thank you, Dory. It's time to strap on the leathers, tighten the helmet, and set off on an epic journey to raise hope and money for families going through cancer treatment. Georgia's ride for the Jack 80 Cancer Center will be held tomorrow. Prostate cancer survivor George Huffnagel started the event last year and was overwhelmed with the response. This year, they're planning a pancake breakfast followed by a day ride to Waterton. The The event will end with a dinner, a dance, and silent auction tomorrow night.
Last year we had 56 bikers come out to the annual event. We raised $86,000 for the Jack 80 Cancer Center, so all the money stayed right here locally at the center, and we purchased a couple things like a vein finder for patients, and we've just ordered a bladder scanner for patients. We're actually using this money to buy things that are going to make a difference for people that are going through cancer here at the Jack 80.
When I'm riding by myself, it's kind of like therapy. You know, my bike I consider as therapeutic. But this is an opportunity to provide a little bit of group therapy. We can support each other, we can be together, you know. You don't even have to say the C word. We're there to have fun, we're there to celebrate life. That's the C word, celebration.
The pancake breakfast starts at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning in the MNP parking lot. The ride gets underway at 11 with the evening events all being held at the Sandman Hotel. To a story about Prince George now. It's a royal menu meant to honor a royal baby. The Jasmine Room Boutique and Tea Room in Lethbridge has added some special treats to celebrate the birth of Prince George of Cambridge. The specials include a Victoria sponge cake, blueberry scones with strawberries and Devonshire cream. Today's lunch soup was corn and crab chowder. The staff has also put together a new tea blend, which they've named to honor the new prince.
We did put a bit of the Buckingham Palace blend in it and a bit of Prince of Wales blend, just for a little bit of it has a touch of a berry flavor ever so slightly. So it's a really yummy blend. It's really nice, and it's kind of a royal blend.
It's the sort of cake that you can make it as elaborate as you want. You can add to it whatever you want, and you can create a creation that's fit for a king or a prince.
The Jasmine Room is planning to have the princely treats on their menu for the next week or so. Well, if you've ever wanted to be in the movies, this could be your big break. A casting call for a major motion picture is being held in Lethbridge tomorrow. Director Christopher Nolan will be shooting a sci-fi movie titled Interstellar in southern Alberta early next month. Now, some of Nolan's bigger movies include The Dark Knight and Inception. This movie is expected to star Anne Hathaway and Matthew McConaughey. They're looking for men, women, and children between the ages of 12 and 70, including people with different looks, nationalities, and ethnicities to be extras in the movie. The casting call will be held from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. at the Lethbridge Lodge on Saturday. The trend for buying free coffees for others has now spread nationwide.
It's usually really quiet.
Tim Hortons now says more than 20 stores across our country have had Good Samaritans walk in the door and buy coffee for hundreds of other customers, including this store in Ottawa. A man walked in and spent nearly $900 for the next 500 coffees. It's also happened at Tim outlets here in Alberta, in Calgary, Edmonton, and Red Deer as well. Saskatoon and right across Ontario is where it's also happening. Now, the generosity started with coffee, but it's expanding to include hot dogs. Today, a man walked into a Calgary hot dog shop and said he wanted to pay it forward as well. He offered up $1,000 for a hot dog giveaway. Time now for a look at the day's markets. When we come back, Dory's got more on that bit of a soggy forecast for next week.